Welcome to Pastor Andrew's Inspirations. If you enjoy these videos, please click on the red subscribe button below the video and click on the bell for more. Welcome to our online church, a congregation made up of many from around the world. No offering is necessary. Subscribing and watching the videos will keep us alive under God's watchful eyes. Today we will be talking about Damascus, the oldest capital city in Islam. Damascus is the capital of Syria, the oldest capital in the world, and the fourth holiest city in Islam. It became the country's largest city following the Syrian War, or the Syrian Civil War, surpassing the northern city of Aleppo. It is informally known in Syria as the City of Jasmine. Damascus is a major cultural center of the Levant and the Arab world. The city had an estimated population of 2,079,000 in 2019. In southwestern Syria, Damascus is the center of a large metropolitan area. Its population in 2004 was estimated to be 2.7 million people. Embedded on the eastern foothills of the anti-Lebanon mountain range, 50 miles inland from the eastern shore of the Mediterranean, on a plateau 2,230 feet above sea level. Damascus experiences a dry climate because of the rain shadow effect. The Barada River flows through Damascus. Damascus is one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world, first settled in the second millennium BC. It was chosen as the capital of Umayyad Caliphate from 661 to 750. After the victory of the Abbasid dynasty, the seat of Islamic power was moved to Baghdad. Damascus saw its importance decline throughout the Abbasid period, only to regain significant importance in the Ayyubid and Mamluk periods. Today, it is the seat of the central government. As of September 2019, 8 years into the Syrian Civil War, Damascus was named the least livable city out of 140 global cities in the Global Livability Ranking. Damascus was built in a strategic site on a plateau 2,230 feet above sea level, about 50 miles inland from the Mediterranean, sheltered by the anti-Lebanon mountains, supplied with water by the Barada River. It is at a crossroads between trade routes, the north-south route connecting Egypt with Asia Minor, and the east-west cross-desert route connecting Lebanon with the Euphrates River Valley. The anti-Lebanon mountains mark the border between Syria and Lebanon. The range has peaks of over 10,000 feet. It blocks precipitation from the Mediterranean Sea. The region of Damascus is sometimes subject to droughts. However, in ancient times, this was mitigated by the Barada River. The river originates from mountain streams fed by melting snow. Damascus is surrounded by the Ghouta, irrigated farmland where many vegetables, cereals, and fruits have been farmed since ancient times. Maps of the Roman Syria indicate that the Barada River emptied into a lake of some size east of Damascus. Today it is called Bahira Ataba, the hesitant lake, because in years of severe drought it does not even exist. The modern city has an area of 41 square miles. 30 square miles are urban, while Jabal Quazyon occupies the other 11 square miles. The old city of Damascus, enclosed by the city walls, lies on the south bank of the river Barada, which is almost dry, 1 inch left. And to the southeast, north and northeast, it is surrounded by suburban areas whose history stretches back to the Middle Ages. Medan in the southwest, Saruja and Imara in the north and northwest. These neighborhoods originally arose on roads leading out of the city near the tombs of religious figures. In the 19th century, outlying villages developed on the slopes of Jabal Quazyon, overlooking the city. Already the site of the important shrine of medieval Andalusian sheikh and philosopher Ibn Arabi. These new neighborhoods were initially settled by Kurdish soldiery and Muslim refugees from the European regions of the Ottoman Empire, which had fallen under Christian rule. Thus they were known as the Kurds and the migrants. They lay 1.5 miles north of the old city. From the late 19th century on, a modern administrative and commercial center began to spring up to the west of the old city, around the Barada, centered on the area known as the Meadow. Al-Marj soon became the name of what was initially the central square of modern Damascus. The city hall was in it. The courts of justice, post office, and railway station stood on higher ground, slightly to the south. A Europeanized residential quarter soon began to be built on the road leading between the Kurds and the migrants. The commercial and administrative center of the new city gradually shifted northwards, slightly towards this area. In the 20th century, newer suburbs developed north of the Barada, to some extent to the south, invading the Ghouta oasis. In 1956 to 1957, the new neighborhood of Yarmouk became a second home to thousands of Palestinian refugees. City planners preferred to preserve the Ghouta as far as possible. In the later 20th century, some of the main areas of development were to the north, in the western Mesa neighborhood, most recently along the Barada Valley, in Dumar or Dumar in the northwest, and on the slopes of the mountains at Barzeh in the northeast. Poorer areas, often built without official approval, have mostly developed south of the main city. Damascus used to be surrounded by an oasis. The Ghouta region is watered by the Barada River. The Fije spring west along the Barada Valley, used to provide the city with drinking water. Various sources to the west are tapped by water contractors. The flow of the Barada has reduced with the rapid expansion of housing and industry in the city, and it is almost dry. The lower aquifers are polluted by city's runoff from heavily used roads, industry, and sewage. Damascus has a cool, arid climate in the Köppen-Geiger system, due to the rain shadow effect of the anti-Lebanon mountains and the prevailing ocean currents. Summers are prolonged, dry, and hot with less humidity. Winters are cool and somewhat rainy. Snowfall is infrequent. Autumn is brief and mild, but has the most drastic temperature change, unlike spring where the transition to summer is more gradual and steady. Annual rainfall is around 5 inches, occurring from October to May. The historical role that Damascus played as an important trade center has changed in recent years due to development in the region as well as a modern trade. Most goods produced in Damascus as well as in Syria are distributed to countries of the Arabian Peninsula. Damascus has also held an annual international trade exposition every fall since 1954. The tourism industry in Damascus has a lot of potential. However, the civil war has hampered these prospects. The abundance of cultural wealth in Damascus has been modestly employed since the late 1980s, with the development of many accommodation and transportation establishments and other related investments. Since the early 2000s, numerous boutique hotels and bustling cafes opened in the old city, which attracted plenty of European tourists and Damascenes alike. In 2009, new office space was built and became available on the real estate market. The real estate sector is stopped due to the terrorism and exodus of the population. Damascus is home to a wide range of industrial activity, such as textiles, food processing, cement, and various chemical industries. The majority of the factories are run by the state. Limited privatization in addition to economic activities led by the private sector were permitted starting in the early 2000s. Traditional handcrafts and artisan copper engravings are still produced in the old city. The Damascus Stock Exchange formally opened for trade in March 2009. The exchange is the only stock exchange in Syria. It is located in the Barzeh district within Syria's financial markets and securities commission. Its final home is to be the upmarket business district of Yafur. The estimated population of Damascus in 2011 was 1,711,000. Damascus is the center of a crowded metropolitan area with an estimated population of 5 million. The metropolitan area of Damascus includes the cities of Duma, Harasta, Daraya, Al-Tal, and Jeramana. The city's growth rate is higher than Syria as a whole, due to rural-urban migration and the influx of young Syrian migrants, drawn by employment and educational opportunities. The migration of Syrian youth to Damascus has resulted in an average age within the city that is below the national average. The population of Damascus has increased in recent years. As a result of the ongoing Syrian civil war, the vast majority of Damascenes are Syrian Arabs. The Kurds are the largest ethnic minority with a population of approximately 300,000. They reside primarily in the neighborhoods of Wadi al-Mashari. Other minorities include Syrian Turkmen, Armenians, Assyrians, Circassians, and a small Greek community. Among the city's minorities is a small Palestinian community. Islam is the dominant religion. The majority of Muslims are Sunni, while Alawites and Twelver Shia comprise sizable minorities. Alawites live primarily in the Meza districts of Meza 86 and Sumaria. Twelvers primarily live near the Shia holy sites of Sayyideh Rakaya and Sayyideh Zainab. It is believed that there are more than 200 mosques in Damascus, the most well-known being the Umayyad Mosque. Christians represent about 15 to 20% of the population. Several Eastern Christian rites have their headquarters in Damascus, including the Syriac Orthodox Church, the Syriac Catholic Church, and the Greek Orthodox Church of Antioch. The Christian districts in the city are Babtuma, Qaza, and Ghazani. Each have many churches, most notably the ancient chapel of St. Paul and St. George's Cathedral in Babtuma. At the suburb of Sufani, a series of apparitions of the Virgin Mary have reportedly been observed between 1982 and 2004. A smaller Druze minority inhabits the city, notably in the mixed Christian Druze suburbs of Tadamon, Jaramana, and Sainaya. The patriarchal see of the Syriac Orthodox is based in Damascus, Babtoma. This church is independent of the Middle Eastern-based Syriac Orthodox Church in Damascus, has its own leadership and structure in India, although both practice the same or similar denomination of Christianity. There are 700,000 members of the Greek Orthodox Church of Antioch in Syria. They are the bulk of the Christian population, alongside 400,000 Assyrians or Syriacs, 30 to 100,000 Armenians, and 350,000 Catholics. There was a small Jewish community, namely in what is called Heret al-Yahud, the Jewish quarter. They are the remnants of an ancient and much larger Jewish presence in Syria, dating back at least to the Roman times, if not before the time of King David. Damascus has a wealth of historical sites, dating back to many different periods of the city's history. Since the city has been built up with every passing occupation, it has become almost impossible to excavate all the ruins of Damascus that lie up to 8 feet below the modern level. The citadel of Damascus is in the northwest corner of the old city. The Damascus Straight Street was referred to in the account of the conversion of St. Paul in Acts chapter 9, verse 11. Also known as the Via Recta, was the east-west main street of Roman Damascus. It extended for over 4,900 feet. Today, it consists of the street of Babsharki and the Souk Medhat Pasha, a covered market. The Babsharki street is filled with small shops and leads to the old Christian quarter of St. Thomas's Gate. Medhat Pasha Souk is also a main market in Damascus and was named after Medhat Pasha, the Ottoman governor of Syria who renovated the souk. At the end of the Babsharki street, one reaches the house of Ananias, an underground chapel that was the cellar of Ananias' house. The Umayyad Mosque also known as the Grand Mosque of Damascus, is one of the largest mosques in the world. It is one of the oldest sites of continuous prayer since the rise of Islam. A shrine in the mosque is said to contain the body of St. John the Baptist. The mausoleum where Saladin was buried is located in the gardens just outside the mosque. Sayyida Ruqayya Mosque, the shrine of the youngest daughter of Hussein in Ali, can also be found near the Umayyad Mosque. The ancient district of Amara is also within a walking distance from these sites. Another heavily visited site is Sayyida Zainab Mosque, where the tomb of Zainab bint Ali is located. Shias, Fatimids, and Dawoodi Bohras believe that after the Battle of Karbala 680 AD in Iraq, the Umayyad Caliph Yazid brought Imam Hussein's head to Damascus, where it was first kept in the courtyard of Yazid Mahal, now part of the Umayyad Mosque complex. All other remaining members of the Imam Hussein's family left alive after Karbala, along with heads of all other companions who were killed at Karbala, were also brought to Damascus. These members were kept as prisoners on the outskirts of the city near Bab al-Sagir. The other heads were kept at the same location. There is a place of worship marked at the place. The Jewish Quarter is a recently restored historical tourist destination, population among Europeans before the outbreak of civil war. The old city of Damascus has an approximate area of 86.12 hectares. It is surrounded by ramparts on the northern and eastern sides and part of the southern side. There are 7 extant city gates, the oldest of which dates back to the Roman period. These are clockwise from the north of the citadel. The Gate of the Orchards, or Paradise. The Gate of Peace, all on the north boundary of the old city. Tuma, or Thomas's Gate, in the northeast corner, leading into the Christian quarter of the same name. Eastern Gate in the east wall, the only one to retain its Roman plan. Bab Kazan in the southeast, from which tradition holds that St. Paul made his escape from Damascus. The Small Gate, and Bab al-Jabiyah at the entrance of the Souk Medat Pasha in the southwest. Other areas outside the walled city also bear the name Gate: Bab al-Faraj, Bab Musala, and Bab Shreja, both to the southwest of the walled city. Churches in the old city are the Chapel of St. Paul, the House of St. Ananias, the Mariamite Cathedral of Damascus, the Cathedral of the Dormition of Our Lady, the St. John, the Damascene Church, the St. Paul's Laura, the St. George's Syriac Orthodox Cathedral, Islamic sites in the Old City, the Umayyad Mosque, also known as the Great Mosque of Damascus, the Sayyida Ruqayya Mosque, the Bab Sagir Cemetery, the Mausoleum of Saladin, the Nabi Habil Mosque, the Al-Adiliya Madrasa, the Azariya Library, the Nur al-Din Madrasa Khans, the Khan Jakmak, the Khan Asad Pasha, the Khan Seliman Pasha. The old Damascene houses. Azim Palace, originally built in 1750 as the residence for the Ottoman governor of Damascus, Asad Pasha al-Azim, housing the Museum of Arts and Popular Traditions. The Beit al-Akkad. The Maktab Anbar, a mid-19th century Jewish private mansion, restored by the Ministry of Culture in 1976 to serve as a library, exhibition center, museum, and craft workshops. The Beit al-Mamluka, a 17th century Damascene house serving as a luxury boutique, hotel within the Old City since 2005. Damascus is the main center of the education in Syria. It is home to Damascus University, which is the oldest and largest university in Syria. After the enactment of legislation allowing private higher institutions, several new universities were established in the city and in the surrounding area, including the Syrian Virtual University, the International University for Science and Technology, the Syrian Private University, the Arab International University, the University of Kalamoun, the Yarmouk Private University, the Wadi International University, the Al Jazeera University, and the European University of Damascus. The institutes play an important role and rule in the education, including the Higher Institute of Business Administration and the Higher Institute for Applied Science and Technology, the Higher Institute for Dramatic Arts, and the National Institute of Administration. The main airport in Damascus, International Airport, or rather is Damascus International Airport, approximately 12 miles away from the city, with connections to a few Middle Eastern cities. Before the beginning of the Syrian Civil War, the airport had connectivity to many Asian, European, African, and South American cities. Streets in Damascus are often narrow, especially in the older parts of the city, and speed bumps are widely used to limit the speed of vehicles. The public transport in Damascus depends extensively on minibuses. There are about 100 lines that operate inside the city, and some of them extend from the city center to nearby suburbs. There is no schedule for the lines, and due to the limited number of official bus stops, buses will usually stop wherever a passenger needs to get on or off. The number of buses serving the same line is relatively high, which minimizes the waiting time. Lines are not numbered, rather they are given captions, mostly indicating the two end points and possibly an important station along the line. Served by Chemins de Syrians, the former main railway station of Damascus was Al-Hajjaj railway station, about 5/8 of a mile west of the old city. The station is now defunct and the tracks have been removed. There still is a ticket counter and a shuttle to Damascus Qadam station in the south of the city, which now functions as the main railway station. In 2008, the government announced a plan to construct a Damascus metro. The Green Line is an essential west-east access for the future public transportation network, serving Modamia, Sumaria, Mesa, Damascus University, Hijaz, the Old City, Abyssian, and Kuban Pullman bus station. A 4-line metro network is expected to be in operation by 2050. Museums are the National Museum of Damascus, the Azim Palace, the Military Museum, the October War Panorama Museum, the Museum of Arabic Calligraphy, the Nur al-Din Bimaristan. Damascus also has several sister cities. The sister cities are Buenos Aires in Argentina, Yerevan in Armenia, Nur Sultan in Kazakhstan, Bucharest in Romania, Cordoba and Toledo in Spain, Ankara and Istanbul in Turkey, and Dubai in United Arab Emirates. This is the ancient city of Damascus. Adonai Nisi, the Lord is our banner. Remember, if you like these videos, please click on the red subscription button below and click on the bell for more notifications. May our Lord Jesus Christ bless this message today.